Right now at 5, a Bay Area community firing back at the Trump administration.
His dog whistles are very clear because these are cities that have black mayors.
We will hear from the people standing up for Oakland as the president trashes the town. Plus, meet the owner of a South Bay burger joint who's standing firm amid rising food prices.
It's tempting sometimes to go a little higher. I just refuse to do it.
Why he says he's able to keep his burgers under $2. And we'll introduce you to the remarkable young man with a passion for fashion and animals.
People love the bow ties, and it amazed me how this could have such a huge impact.
His unique idea that's already helped countless cats and dogs find homes. Plus, scaling Mount Kilimanjaro is a daunting task for even the most experienced climber. We'll meet the Bay Area woman about to attempt the summit without the benefit of her full eyesight.
I'm not going to be able to see the view at the very top, but there's so much more that can be taken away from the journey.
CBS News Bay Area Evening Edition with Ryan Yamamoto.
And we begin in Oakland, where community members and city leaders are firing back after President Trump suggested he might send in federal forces over false claims of rising crime. The president is also calling out local leaders in Washington, D.C. That's where we spotted National Guard members arriving today after the president announced he would deploy the Guard and federal law enforcement to fight crime. D.C. has also seen a drop in crime in recent years. Our John Ramos spoke to Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee, who says there's another reason why these cities are being singled out.
It's not lost on people here in Oakland that the president's remarks should focus on cities with large African American populations. So we thought we would talk to people who are frequently in the discussion about the intersection of race and crime in the city. Oakland has a population of less than 500,000 people, but it has many of the same problems as larger urban cities. And in his remarks about sending the National Guard to police Washington, D.C., the president made sure to include Oakland in his criticism.
We have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone. It's getting worse. Not getting better, it's getting worse.
But Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee was quick to point out a flaw in the president's data points.
He's not telling the truth again. When you look at the cities that he has called out, they're cities where the crime rate's going down. His dog whistles are very clear because these are cities that have black mayors. For instance, Oakland's overall crime rate has dropped 28% in the first 6 months of 2025 compared to last year.
Oakland has indeed had a crime problem over the years, much of it real, but some of it a lingering perception. Crime is down significantly across the board now, but the local branch of the NAACP makes no apologies about last year using the crime rate as an argument to recall then DA Pamela Price.
At that time, John, the crime was out of control, and you know that. The crime was definitely out of control. What Donald Trump is trying to do is not what the NAACP was doing. We used that to help our city, and it helped our city. Whether some people like it or not, it helped Oakland. But what he's doing is not helping.
They then read a statement from the national NAACP President Derek Johnson about the decision to send troops to fight crime in Washington.
Deploying the National Guard in this way is not only disgraceful to our troops, but it's a waste of taxpayer dollars and is built on a lie. We all ought to be concerned about what this means for African Americans. They're getting close. You know, it was the Latinos and brown skin, then it was the Venezuelans and the Haitians, and now it's going to be every brown person. So every brown person in America should be concerned.
Kat Brooks is known for standing up to authority as the founder of the Anti-Police Terror Project. She thinks the president is purposely involving Oakland because of its history of protest and activism.
If he can punch Oakland in the mouth, if he can get Oakland to stand down, that sets tone and tenor for the rest of the country. Unfortunately, for the president, he clearly doesn't know Oakland.
What do you think Oakland's reaction will be?
I think we'll be in the streets. I mean, I don't even think it'll be organized. I think there will be an organic response, and people will be in the streets, and you will see a variety of tactics and a diversity of tactics, and it'll be on.
But some think that may play into the Trump administration's hands, giving a good excuse to send troops in to quell the unrest.
So is the alternative we just let the National Guard and the military come in here and implement a curfew and lose all our rights, but we just chill out because it won't be as bad? That will be an option for some people, right? We all have different roles to play in this moment. That's not an option for me.
John Burris prefers to use the law as his weapon. The civil rights attorney has been fighting racial profiling in police abuse cases for decades. He thinks the National Guard will be ill-trained to deal with the nuances of policing a city.
We may not like the color of the style of their hair, the way they wear their pants, the way they walk. Any kind of form that's racial stereotyping could wind up being a basis for people being stopped, detained, and ultimately arrested. It is a potential hellhole that could result here, and I'm very much afraid and scared for our community.
Many people in Oakland's black community are concerned that when talking about crime, the president tends to paint with a broad brush, and it usually involves a darker color.
And in San Francisco today, day 2 of the trial challenging President Trump's authority to deploy the National Guard to Los Angeles back in June. California says the move broke the federal law preventing the use of the military to police civilians. And today, the commanding general of those troops testified about the operation that sent federal agents and National Guard troops to MacArthur Park in L.A. That's where General Scott Sherman said he recommended keeping soldiers out of the park, but was overruled by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Later, Judge Breyer questioned Trump administration attorneys, saying there is no evidence local law enforcement wasn't as sufficient as the first line of defense. The state wants the roughly 300 troops still in L.A. sent home. The trial is expected to wrap up tomorrow. A rally in Contra Costa County today pushing back against ICE raids and calling on local leaders to protect immigrant communities.
Because when immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up. What do we do? Stand up, fight back.
A group of immigration rights advocates protested against the Board of Supervisors meeting in Martinez. They spoke out against ICE arrests in places like courthouses. They also want the county to adopt an ordinance to prevent the sheriff's office from sharing information with ICE.
This ordinance serves as a promise that Contra Costa County will protect our people, not hand them over. A promise that our leaders stand with us and not against us.
Last month, we spoke with Contra Costa County Sheriff David Livingston, who said the sheriff's office does not share information with ICE except in limited circumstances involving the most violent offenders.
We don't interact with federal agents. When we book an individual into our jail, their fingerprints automatically go to ICE, Department of Homeland Security, FBI, everybody. ICE obviously knows that they want to interview this particular person, and so they send us a request for notification.
And the sheriff's office released updated numbers that it received 293 requests from ICE related to detaining people so far this year. That is up from 274 requests in the first half of last year. It did notify ICE in 54 of those cases compared to 65 in the first half of 2024. And the Board of Supervisors also discussed whether there should be more oversight over the Sheriff's Department and its interactions with ICE. But supervisors remain divided. We reached out to the sheriff's office to respond to today's rally and have not heard back. Smoke from California's largest wildfire this year is drifting our way from the Central Coast. You can see that haze hanging over the Santa Clara Valley today. And taking a live look outside right now, air quality officials say any smoke you might see should not present a health risk. First Alert meteorologist Zoe Mintz has a closer look. Hey, Zoe.
Yeah, well, luckily, all of that smoke is, again, in the upper levels of the atmosphere. The most dense smoke and the worst air quality is down in Southern California. It's kind of difficult to tell the difference between smoke versus cloud coverage because, as you can see, there's quite a lot of that cloud coverage along the coast. But this is our satellite imagery. This is what we see from space. And below my feet right here, what's not that bright white color, what's more of that, I would say, darker browny color, that's the smoke, and that's the worst air quality. And you notice how we don't really have much of any of that across the Bay Area. That's because our air quality is not bad. The smoke's in the upper levels. You might see an extra vibrant sunset this evening, but other than that, it is really not going to be impacting us, which is great news. What is impacting us is a bit of a pattern change. A lot more cloud coverage is moving in along our coastal communities, and that's going to continue to keep those temperatures a bit cooler into tomorrow, likely going to be the coolest day of the upcoming week. week, and we are going to continue to see those temperatures cooling down over the next 24 hours or so. Right now, they're comfortable. They're anywhere from the upper 70s to mid 80s down into the Santa Clara Valley. Inland East Bay community sitting in the mid to upper 80s, definitely cooler than the 90s that we were feeling this past weekend. North Bay community sitting in the 70s right now, as well as areas directly by the bay and directly along the coast, low 60s. But again, it is going to continue to get cooler into tomorrow. I'll let you know when a warm-up will be on the way because there's a bit of a roller coaster ride. All details will break down coming up in just a bit. Back to you, Ryan.
Well, firefighters are trying a new strategy to fight the Gifford fire, which has grown to 190 square miles, larger than the city of San Jose. CAL FIRE says wind is pushing that fire to the west into rugged backcountry. Now they're starting a strategic burn operation to reduce vegetation and deprive it of fuel.
Essentially what we're doing is we're fighting fire with fire. We're going to be starting fire to hopefully engage it to the burned area currently and protect the Garcia Wilderness area.
Parts of the fire are so remote, the Forest Service has said they've had to fly crews in, but helicopters. 10 people, including 7 firefighters, have been hurt. That fire is now 33% contained.
I'm Ann Magovic with a look at some of the other headlines we are following right now, starting with the vote to ban the sale of nitrous oxide in parts of San Mateo County, also known as laughing gas and whippets. The Board of Supervisors just voted unanimously on a draft ordinance to prohibit their sale in unincorporated parts of the county. Nitrous oxide has been a big topic for teens on social media, and it has been found at smoke shops around the county. The ordinance is set to be heard again later this month. New information on that deadly head-on crash near the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge this morning. The CHP now says it was caused by a drunk driver who was going the wrong direction. It happened just after 1:30 a.m. Officers say that drunk driver was in a Range Rover that crashed into a Honda Civic just east of the toll plaza. The Honda driver died at the scene. The Range Rover caught fire. That driver is listed in critical condition. And police in San Francisco got a chance to hear from people and business owners in Chinatown about some of their safety concerns today. It's what they call a merchant walk that went on this afternoon. It is meant to build trust and ensure that everyone's voices are heard. Also gives people a chance to meet newly appointed Central Station Captain Chris Del Gandia.
You know, safety comes down to a lot of quality of life issues and nuisances around the neighborhood. And so we try to get folks together around the city to address all these issues and make it a place that feels safer and cleaner.
Del Gandia says he's heard a lot of people ask for more of a police presence, but the department is about 500 officers short of being fully staffed. Brian.
All right, thanks, Sam. Well, up next at 5, 49er fans getting one last look at the team ahead of their final preseason game against the Raiders. A special tribute from the team to our local first responders. Plus, a plan to create a new bike trail in a popular East Bay park is receiving mixed reaction. We're going to hear from neighbors about the planned addition to their community.
I've never ran into any problems with any of them, so we got to share the space, I guess.
Well, today was the last chance for 49er fans to see their team get ready for the season. It was a full house at the final open practice at training camp in Santa Clara, where Kevin Coe was there.
The preseason is officially underway, and week 1 just around the corner. Today was the final chance that Niner fans had to see their team prepare for the season, and for many, it was a first.
This is my first training camp.
Mariah is with her family from Modesto.
Oh, right here.
It's hard to believe she almost didn't want to be here because she wasn't sure if she could.
I thought I was gonna have trouble. That's probably why I didn't want to come. But they encouraged me and I came. I'm glad I did. But one day I was walking, I went to school, and then suddenly I had a stroke. And then from then on I couldn't walk no more.
Mariah was one of hundreds of fans at the 49ers' last open practice in Santa Clara. Like many, it's her first. Then there's the Randy Yeagers of the world. This is his 5th practice this training camp alone.
I'm an autograph nut and I'm a collector of stuff. I talk to the player personally. It's history. When I get something from a player, I love it, and it's years of collecting history.
When practice ended and the time to collect history arrived, the 49ers brought out the cavalry for eager and patient fans, which included a group of Bay Area service members and first responders.
Are you really?
Yeah,
let's go.
one right here.
You still live there? You want a video? All right.
I got to meet Kittle, McCaffrey, Purdy came out. Yeah, all the guys came out. It was really sick.
Michael Ramos is stationed in his hometown of Alameda.
Seeing how they function and how everyone works together as a team to try and get the championship was really great. We're in the military, so we know about teamwork and how that goes.
In terms of how it's going to go, fans here tend to be on the same page.
I'm so excited. This year is going to be different. This year is going to be different on the field. We are going to the Super Bowl. This is our house.
Go 49ers! Woo! Let's win a Super Bowl! Woo!
And the injury bug has hit the Niners as they prepare to face the Raiders on Saturday. Coming up in sports, we're going to hear from the team ahead of their preseason tune-up in Las Vegas. East Bay cyclists could be getting some new terrain. Wildcat Canyon Regional Park in the Richmond area is looking to add new mountain bike-only trails. The park is surrounded by the Wildcat Creek and the San Pablo Reservoir. The proposed 1.4-mile trail would run through open grassland along a southwest ridgeline facing the San Francisco Bay. It would also include some exciting elements for bikers like ramps and rock features. This all started back in 2020 when local high school and middle school students asked for a trail where they wouldn't be bumping into hikers or horseback riders. Local park officials voted last week to move ahead with an environmental impact study. Construction could begin as early as 2027. We spoke to one resident in favor of the plan. She said it would be great to expand the park's uses.
It's a pretty big park in my opinion, and mountain biking has been a trend actually. My family actually does mountain biking and there's not a lot of spots to do it. So I think in my opinion it's a great idea.
But critics argue the trail would be a threat to wildlife. They point to a clause in the park's land use plan that says Wildcat Canyon will be a nature area free from intensive recreational activities. So which side you stand on that issue, beautiful day actually get out on a bike and kind of explore the trails.
Exactly. It's gorgeous here in the Bay Area. And I just kind of want to remind everybody how lucky we are to live here, that we don't have to deal with the extreme heat, because a lot of the desert Southwest and just the western half of the United States in general is seeing some aggressive hot temperatures. We're looking at widespread heat advisories, and then the areas in peak excessive heat warnings. We're looking at those high temperatures anywhere from the well above triple-digit mark from Las Vegas over to Phoenix, and then we're looking them even in Medford, Oregon. 98 degrees again. So Bay Area, hey, we're one of the only places across the West Coast that's not dealing with the heat, and let's appreciate it and enjoy it while we can. If you don't mind a bit more of the cloud coverage along our coastal communities, it's again what we expect this time of year. That marine layer, Carl, holding on tight, say hello. He's going to stick around at least for the next several days, as we are actually expecting cooler temperatures to arrive overnight as a thicker layer of fog and cloud coverage will move in. So keep that in mind. Any early morning plans tomorrow, give yourself an extra couple minutes on the roadways because visibility likely going to be an issue, and that cloud coverage, it's going to stick around through tomorrow afternoon. It's going to keep those high temperatures tomorrow, a couple of degrees cooler. Even our coastal communities, mid to lower 60s. Downtown San Francisco, mid to maybe upper 60s. Areas by the Bay are going to be seeing those temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. Areas inland, mid to upper 80s. Again, that's a couple of degrees below average for this time of year. Nothing crazy, but it's one of the coolest days that we'll be feeling this upcoming week. So if you like the cooler weather, tomorrow is your day to enjoy yourself. If you like the warmer weather, I promise you, you just have to wait a couple of days, as there is a little bit of a roller coaster that is on the way that is going to persist throughout the Bay Area. Right now, though, this is our view from on top of Mark Hopkins, and yeah, it's foggy out there. We're looking towards Sutro, and this should be Sutro Tower right here. Yeah, we can't see anything because of how thick, how dense that fog is, and it's going to stick around throughout the overnight hours and into tomorrow. Temperatures, again, are going to stay a couple of degrees below average tomorrow afternoon, anywhere from 2 to 4 degrees below average. Not extreme cold, just slightly cooler than what we were feeling last week when it was about 5 to 10 degrees above average. Those wind gusts today anywhere from 20 to 30 miles an hour. Tomorrow, the coolest day of the week, coming in from that onshore direction and ushering in more of those cooler marine conditions. Again, 25 to 35 mile an hour gust. By Thursday, though, you'll already notice those winds beginning to quiet down as a warm-up will be on our way. And by Friday, that will be likely the warmest day of this upcoming week. But the warmest day of the upcoming week just means back to slightly above average for this time of year. Livermore average high temperature 88 degrees. Tomorrow, you'll be in the mid-80s. By Friday, you'll be in the upper 80s. So it's relatively a bit of a roller coaster on the way, but overall, no extreme heat, no extreme cool, although we are expecting those mid-90s to return by late next week. So again, that's over 7 days away from now. By the time that we step out on Friday in San Francisco, that's when we'll be feeling more of that warm-up. Mid-70s in store on Friday with a lot more sunshine in downtown San Francisco and even along our coastal communities. 70s likely sticking around into Saturday before cooling down by the time that we step out Sunday. San Jose, you'll be feeling slightly cooler weather all weekend long, mid-70s, but honestly, slightly cooler just means it is going to be a great day to spend outdoors and enjoy some comfortable heat, because being comfortable this time of year is always a positive. We'll never complain about that. At least hopefully you don't, because heat is one of the deadliest things in the summertime. And again, if we can avoid it as far as we can, especially when it comes to our wildfire season as well, I'm sure all of us will take it. Those temperatures, again, will remain within a couple of degrees of normal from our inland communities, staying in the mid to upper 80s to low 90s, areas by the bay, staying in the mid 70s to maybe upper 60s, kind of just depending on where you're located across the bay and our coastal communities. Not necessarily looking at a roller coaster of temperatures, but it's the cloud coverage that's going to stick around through Thursday before Friday, the sunniest and the warmest day of the week. Beautiful beach day on Friday, before a little bit more of that fog and that marine layer returns into the weekend. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Zoe. Up next, we're going to take you to the South Bay and a burger joint that has become a smashing success. How the owner was able to keep a burger under $2 and why he refuses to raise prices. And fashion for your furry friends. Meet the designer whose bow ties are not only making these pooches look good, they may also be saving their lives.
It carried with me to make it my lifelong mission to help as many shelter pets around the world as I possibly can.
Well, check this out. Thousands of shelter pets wearing custom bow ties, quite dapper, all made by a teenager in New York. Michael George shows us how his love for making bow ties is also saving lives.
18-year-old Darius Brown has a passion for fashion. His sister taught him to sew, and he started making his own bow ties at the age of 8.
People loved the bow ties I was making. People said, how you look so dapper, I look so professional, I look so adorable. I thought to myself, you know what, if I'm hearing all these wonderful things about myself, I know I'll hear it 20 times more on a dog or a cat.
So Darius began designing bow ties for pets living in shelters. It made for some adorable photos. But then something unexpected happened. People took notice.
I donated my first set, and then all of a sudden, I heard back 2 weeks later, every dog and cat that I donated my bow tie to my very first animal shelter, all got adopted.
Darius was inspired. He made more than 7,000 bow ties and donated them to shelters across the country. He's helped raise more than $500,000 to support animals and helped countless cats and dogs find homes.
It carried with me to make it my lifelong mission to help as many shelter pets around the world as I possibly can.
His mom, Joy, couldn't be more proud.
I don't know what the secret is. I just did my best as a single mom, and I guess from the grace of God, He brought me this angel.
Darius's charity work even got recognized in a letter from former President Barack Obama.
I was just shocked, and it amazed me how this could have such a huge impact, that a simple thought and a simple bow tie could save lives.
Proving while clothes make the man, they also make man's best friend.
As food prices continue to skyrocket, meet the owner of a South Bay burger joint bucking the trend.
You don't want to change the price. It's tempting sometimes to go a little higher, but I just refuse to do it.
How his $1.99 burger has become such a smash with the community, he was able to expand. Plus, meet the woman tackling Mount Kilimanjaro, why she says the journey and the climb is more than just a sight to see. Plus, we'll introduce you to the canine detective with a very distinct look, how she is protecting a vital part of the Earth's ecosystem.
The idea with the dogs is that they can work as a screening tool.
Right now at 5:30, falling gas prices are keeping inflation in check, but consumers are starting to feel the effects of the Trump tariffs on a broad array of products. Prices rose 2.2% in July, according to the Consumer Price Index, and Americans are paying more for things like rent, medical care, and used cars. That number does not include prices for food and energy, but those costs are rising as well. And restaurants around the country are facing the tough decision of just how much to pass that on to their customers. But the owner of a South Bay burger joint is bucking that trend. He spoke to our Len Ramirez about why he's standing firm on prices despite the challenges that may bring.
On Park Avenue in San Jose, just across from Hoover Middle School, the smell of grilled burgers and onions fills the air, and a line stretches out the door. 107. That's owner Jim Angelopoulos. He's hands-on, working the prep station at what is now his second Campus Burgers location. To mark the recent grand opening, he planned to give away 1,000 burgers to celebrate with the community. But when the line didn't stop, neither did he.
Saturday, we actually gave away 1,500 cheeseburgers. We thought we were going to give away about 1,000, but the customers kept on coming, so we kept on grilling cheeseburgers.
And the crowds are still coming. His claim to fame? The $1.99 smash burger, fresh off the grill with grilled onions, part of a simple menu that Jim says keeps prices low.
The $1.90 burger is tough. It's not like we don't really are highly profitable at it. So it is there to draw people in, obviously.
How do you do it? How do you do the $1.99 burger?
They order them by the dozens. So we sell a box of 12 for about $23. So it's like a pizza box. Instead of pizza, come and have a burger. Thank you.
Customers say prices are one thing, but it has to deliver on quality and taste to be a good value.
You're dealing with good quality beef here. It's very fresh, tastes very fresh, and then also the fries are obviously very fresh. And where else, who does that at that price? I don't know of anyone.
Angelopoulos grew up just blocks from here in San Jose's Rose Garden neighborhood and even went to Hoover Middle School himself.
My parents immigrated from Greece in 1968 to the Rose Garden area. So this is like coming back home. It's crazy.
With his concept taking off, Jim's already looking at expanding to locations in Santa Cruz and Berkeley, and may even franchising in the future. And Jim says whatever happens to beef prices, he'll keep offering the $1.99 burger. It's what he says will keep him grounded as he grows beyond his hometown.
I don't want to change the price. It's tempting sometimes to go a little higher, but I just refuse to do it. I think that's why people come.
And that could be a lesson he learned right here in his old neighborhood.
Just in time for dinner. That was Len Ramirez reporting. So according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average price for a pound of ground beef is up 10% from a year ago. Steaks are 12% more expensive. And a new report by the California State Auditor finds the state could save up to $225 million a year if it continues to allow state employees to work from home for 3 days a week. It comes after Governor Newsom issued an executive order requiring all state departments and agencies to return to the office at least 4 days a week by next July. Newsom says it would improve communication between employees and allow them to deliver better services to Californians, while worker unions say remote work allows more flexibility. The governor's office says the audit is based on hypothetical theories and incomplete information. And with millions of dollars at stake, the San Francisco Unified School District is making a big push to boost student attendance ahead of start of class next Monday. The campaign is called Be Here. District leaders say school attendance in San Francisco is still below pre-pandemic levels, with students missing more than 4 million hours of educational time last year, losing out on $60 million in state funding tied to attendance.
If we can just get back to pre-pandemic attendance levels, we would be able to see an $18 million increase to our budget every year. That is significant.
The district also announced partnerships with local professional sports teams to help promote daily attendance at school. And a slippery slope for Central Valley homes. A new study from UC Riverside shows that the sinking ground is dragging down property values as well. The study looked at how excessive groundwater pumping is impacting the housing market. Researchers collected data for nearly 200,000 home sales across 8 counties. They found the average losses range between $6,500 and $16,000 per year. One assistant professor at UC Riverside said it's not just the housing market that's being impacted.
When we see droughts, we see larger subsidence. We see more extraction of groundwater, we see larger subsidence. And that's a sign for many other problems like water availability, job availability, and so on.
He added this problem is not just unique to California. Desert communities all across the country are also experiencing significant sinking land. As we learn more about a deadly shooting targeting the CDC, workers at the agency say their boss bears some responsibility. Why they're furious at Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
The only day he's coming here is when it's empty of staff. After a tragedy.
Plus, meet the woman conquering challenges despite losing most of her eyesight.
I can see it because it's within my peripheral vision, but then as it comes in towards the center, my finger essentially disappears.
How her next journey will take her to the top of one of the world's 7 summits. With new information about the deadly shooting at the CDC headquarters in Atlanta, authorities say nearly 200 shots were fired on Friday, killing a police officer and damaging multiple buildings. That shooter died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Officials say he recently had suicidal thoughts and that law enforcement had been contacted. Investigators are still looking for a motive. They found documents in his home expressing his distrust of the COVID-19 vaccine. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. visited the headquarters yesterday. He was met with angry staffers lining the sidewalk with signs to save the CDC and calling for his resignation. They spoke about their frustrations with Secretary Kennedy, saying his anti-vaccine rhetoric has created a negative culture.
We are not the enemy. We do this work because we want to serve you. I want to make sure that everybody has the best opportunity to have a healthy and safe and long life.
Secretary Kennedy released a statement calling the shooting tragic and saying he stands with the CDC family. Well, a canine detective is on the front lines in the fight against a disease that threatens a key part of the Earth's ecosystem. Researchers at Michigan State University, look at this, enlisted an English Springer Spaniel to sniff out the disease that threatens honeybees. Maple's career in law enforcement ended last year, but the 9-year-old is still armed with a keen sense of smell. She's now using her nose to protect one of nature's most important pollinators.
I was over the moon excited because my dog would still have joy in her life and would still be able to work.
The idea with the dogs is that they can work as a screening tool. So we have beekeepers that have 5,000, 10,000 colonies, and it's very hard to go through them with enough rigor to actually see all of the disease.
Well, the honeybee population has declined significantly over the years because of the disease known as the American foul brood. Other factors include climate change, insecticides, and a lack of diverse food supply. Approximately 1/3 of the human diet does come from plants pollinated by bees.
Straight ahead in sports, the Warriors know that they have to move some things around on Christmas Day on their schedule. And the circle of football life for 49er quarterback Brock Purdy over almost 4 years.
Okay, taking a look at our weather right now. Let's check in with First Alert meteorologist Zoe Menton. It's called Fogust.
Yep.
For a reason.
The fog is returning,
Yes.
and the cooler weather. So
We like that.
I enjoy it. That's why we live in the Bay, right? You don't like the heat, or else you'd move down south. You'd move to the Central Valley. But hey, summertime in the Bay Area, we're used to the chill, and it's returning by the time that we step out tomorrow. This is our time lapse from on top of Mount Diablo all day long, where you saw the fog peeling back, just hanging on a little bit over the bay, and then it's returning tonight. overnight, and it's going to continue in full force into our overnight hours and by early tomorrow morning. If you live in the valleys and you see a lot of fog normally, that decreases your visibility. That's going to be the same case tomorrow morning, so give yourself an extra couple minutes. Right now, temperatures cooling down into the mid-70s for areas across our inland communities, mid-60s closer to the coast and areas by the bay. It is all location dependent, and it's really those microclimates that continue to be in full force for this time of year. And the reason that we see the microclimates is all thanks to the ocean and the fact that we're on the west coast, because the ocean brings in cooler conditions, it brings in cloudier conditions, and then you head on a little bit further inland where there's a lot of sunshine and those temperatures are much warmer. Overnight tonight, though, like I said, we're going to continue to see that thicker layer in fog and cloud coverage, and then by tomorrow afternoon, it'll be peeling back. Very similar to today, we're going to continue to see that little finger of fog making its way through the Golden Gate over to Oakland as well, and those temperatures tomorrow with stronger winds anywhere from 25 to 35 miles an hour, they're definitely going to feel a bit cooler. Mid-60s directly along the coast. They'll not necessarily feel cooler, but they will feel breezier and cloudier. Mid-60s also here in San Francisco. Mid to upper 70s across our North Bay communities. Mid to lower 80s down into the Santa Clara Valley. And then mid to upper 80s across our inland East Bay. Everybody will be within a couple of degrees of normal for this time of year, but still below average and a couple of degrees cooler than what we were feeling just a couple of weeks ago. Remember last week when it was so warm out there? Yeah, not necessarily nearly feeling as much of that warm weather, but we are going to very soon. I want to show you all our 6 to 10 day outlook, where we're looking at likely above average temperatures. The deeper and the darker the area in red, the more likely that those temperatures are going to be above average. And you notice that little area of darker red that makes its way over the coastal communities of the Bay Area. Get ready for warmer weather. It's not going to stay this chilly forever, so again, enjoy it while you can. It's normally this chilly in the Bay Area this time of year. It's August, like we talked about, and normally we don't start warming up until September, October. So temperatures are, yes, cooler, but still only 2 to 4 degrees below average for this time of year. No extreme cold, no extreme heat in our future, which is also really great news because we're in wildfire season, and the longer that we can avoid the heat and the dry air, the better. Today, we're looking at those wind gusting anywhere from 20 to 30 miles an hour. Tomorrow, 25 to 35 miles an hour, and then calming right back down into Thursday as those temperatures will begin to gradually warm up. It's a very weak storm system that's going to bring us the cool down tomorrow. As that storm system departs, it will gradually warm up into Thursday, and then Friday will likely be the warmest and the sunniest day of the week, where even our coastal communities are likely going to be seeing those sunnier skies. And there is a bit of a roller coaster ride on the way when it comes to our temperatures. We're likely going to be seeing back to right above average by the time that we step out late next week. But again, it's not extreme heat. It's maybe 5 to 10 degrees above normal for this time of year. So again, no extreme heat, no extreme cold. Temperatures staying within 5 degrees of normal for this time of year all across the Bay Area. Temperatures are going to stay in the 80s and low 90s for our inland communities. For areas by the Bay, a couple of degrees cooler as usual. We'll be sitting in the mid to lower 70s, maybe upper 70s on Fridays. That's going to be the warmest day this week with a lot more sunshine. And those of you who live along the coast, this is where you are going to be looking forward to the sunshine because you haven't seen all too much of it over the past several days. Friday is your day to soak up the sunshine along the coast. Head on over to our coastal communities on Friday again with the warmer and the sunnier weather before the more cloud coverage and true August returns by the weekend. Over to you, Jules.
That's a perfect forecast there. All right, Zoe, thank you. Coming up at 6 o'clock, it's a drug that gives a quick high with serious consequences. Nitrous oxide is becoming more popular with teens. How a Bay Area county is trying to crack down before people get hooked. Plus, fewer kindergartners are getting their childhood vaccinations nationwide. We're going to find out what that could mean for herd immunity as kids go back to school. Plus, the Perseid meteor shower, it hits its peak tonight, but the moon might make it a bit hard to see. Why an astronomer says it's still worth a look at the night sky. The news at 6, coming up in about 10 minutes. Let's head to my buddy Vern for a look at sports.
KPIX Sports is powered by Kia. Learn more at kia.com. Kia, movement that inspires.
WNBA up top in the Golden State Valkyries, rewarded for taking care of business in back-to-back home wins. They're 7th in the conference, top 8 make the playoffs, and there's 13 regular season games left. For Tiffany Hayes, this was worth coming out of retirement. Hayes put up 17 points in Monday's rout of Connecticut, and she hit another milestone along the way. Matt Lavely pointed that out to her after the game.
In this game, you passed Cheryl Swoops on the WNBA's all-time scoring list. You are now 31st, Tip. What's it mean to pass a legend?
Man, that's a legend. Shout out to Cheryl Swoops. It means a lot. I appreciate anybody that comes before me, but that's definitely dope. I appreciate that.
Credit to her, this being a pro, right? Her body lasting, to her being available, her playing heavy minutes, and then obviously the scoring. I mean, she's a fearless scorer.
NFL and the 49ers. Quarterback Brock Purdy is entering his 4th NFL season, and he's come a long way since our producers made him wait to do an interview as a rookie. All right, Mr. Purdy has joined us. Tape or live? What do you want? Okay, all right. They're saying hold tight, 1 second. We wouldn't make Brock wait today. Since that interview 3 years ago, Purdy has become a starting quarterback, led the Niners to a Super Bowl, got married, became the highest paid player in franchise history, and is now a father. A lot of change since being the last pick in the 2022 draft.
It's gone so quickly, and now I'm a father, but more than anything, it's just about taking in every little thing in the present and being where my feet are at, and not missing out on the moment right now, because I know the day will end when I'm done playing football and the next phase of life will come, and that's great, but when that time comes, I'm sure I'll be like, dang, like I wish I would have enjoyed it more in the moment. So that's where I'm at right now.
NBA, the league announced Tuesday that the Warriors will play at the Lakers on the first night of the regular season. Steph Curry versus LeBron James, a matchup of two of the NBA's marquee names. Also announced, Golden State will be home for Christmas and host Klay Thompson and the Dallas Mavericks. It also features Anthony Davis and the #1 overall pick in Cooper Flagg. So it all drops October 21st. The Valkyries Experience Show drops at 7:30 on KPIX.
Lots of hoops to go to.
Oh, we're busy and loving it.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Vern. When we come back, meet the climber taking on Africa's tallest mountain. Why she says the journey is not about the view at the top.
There's so much more that can be taken away from the journey.
At more than 19,000 feet, Mount Kilimanjaro is Africa's tallest mountain, and needless to say, climbing to the top is challenging enough. That trek itself can take around a week, not to mention the training, which can take up to 6 months. Now one woman from Mountain View is preparing to take on this once-in-a-lifetime challenge, and as Max Darrow explains, she's not doing it for the views.
It is the highest mountain in Africa and the highest freestanding mountain above sea level in the world.
5 minutes of research into climbing Mount Kilimanjaro.
The prominence of Kilimanjaro poses a serious risk of altitude sickness.
Easily could be enough for someone to say no thanks.
Don't like that.
But the reward at the top will be worth it to Christy Colton, even though it may look a bit different.
You know, a lot of people think that when you hike a mountain, you do it so that you can get the view at the summit. And obviously for someone like me, when we hike up Mount Kilimanjaro, I'm not going to be able to see the view at the very top. But there's so much more that can be taken away from the journey.
Christy is blind because of a condition that she's lived with since she was 9 called Stargardt's. It's a form of macular degeneration that affects central vision.
I can see it because it's within my peripheral vision. But then as it comes in towards the center, my finger essentially disappears.
But that's not enough to stop Christy from reaching new heights. In the fall, she'll be part of a history-making expedition where 11 blind hikers with guides will summit Mount Kilimanjaro.
I realized that I couldn't turn this opportunity down. It's so once in a lifetime.
But in order to get there, she has to train a lot. From going on hikes,
we're taking baby steps,
to intense workouts designed to build strength and stamina.
So I need to make sure I have a little bit of extra strength in my ankles to sort of counteract the fact that I don't always see exactly where my feet are landing.
Each step of this process
I'm a little tired. but good.
is fueled by her determination to not let her disability drive her away from experiencing life to the fullest.
When I was in high school, I was really embarrassed to be seen as disabled. It was something that I would go out of my way to hide. Sharing this vulnerable side of me, I think, has made me so much closer with people.
And that includes her friends Grace Eisenbach and Jungyeon Park, who will be guiding her every step of the way up Kilimanjaro.
Christy is so much more than just how much she can see. I think she's funny and she's spunky and she's a dreamer, and she inspires everyone else around her to dream really big about themselves.
What was once Christy's soft spot has become a source of strength.
There is so much opportunity out there.
And if anything, a lack of vision has only illuminated more beauty for her to appreciate in the adventure of life.
I might not experience the world in the same way, but there are so many things that I still love to do and enjoy doing because vision is not the point. There's so many other things to love about the things that we do.
A reminder that rings true from an ordinary day in Mountain View to the peak of Mount Kilimanjaro.
And that's it for the news at 5.